proudest symbol of excellence in sports entertainment.
We are broadcasting from the Blue Chew Studios. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code ARN at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. Hello and happy Thanksgiving weekend and welcome to ARN. This is Paul Bromwell, and today I'm joined by the Hall of Famer, the founder of the Four Horsemen, the creator of the Spine Buster, and as we learned last week, a man who stared down both Ron Simmons and Butch Reed and lived to tell the story in this very podcast. He's the enforcer. He's AA. He's my friend. He's Arn Anderson. Arn, happy Thanksgiving, buddy. How are you this week?
Very good. Very good. I like your shirt. That gun slipped its way in there, didn't it?
You like that? Yes, sir. The Glock.
Yeah.
And I like your shirt, pal.
I look pretty good in red,
That's
right?
sharp. The color, the symbol of excellence with that Four Horsemen logo, man. And they can be found at our store now there, right?
Looks like a college shirt. Yeah, you can get it in the Horseman store.
Yep.
The Orange Show, box
Yeah.
of gimmicks. Yeah. Got a bunch of nice stuff. Hats are there. Black, white, I think gray. The hats really look good. They really look good. So check it out, guys. Good Christmas presents. Now, this is a show that is dedicated to you guys.
That's right.
Ask whatever you want. I'll do my best. If I can't answer it, it's because I can't recall it.
There you go. Arn, before we get going, I wanted to tell you one thing. Remind me to talk to you about the Horseman jackets because I did talk to the designer, the guy today, after you and I talked earlier. And I think you're going to be pleased with what's going on. All I'll say is when he's done with the demo, he has your address and one's coming your way. So he's ready to go.
The picture you showed me of the work is 100%
immaculate.
Excellent. And I promised our fans I would get this. I'm sorry that it's taken this long. That's on our end. It's the company we were trying to use dragged their feet and wouldn't tell us. I'm just going to go ahead and call it what it is. They're just rotten business folks because they're going to be the ones to miss out.
And as many as rotten business folks are out there, there are also great business folks. And thanks to our buddy, Mr. Popcorn, that's right, bigpapacorn.com, by the way, which we love their popcorn. He's the one who turned me on to the new company in Nashville, Music City, and we are working with them. And as soon as they get that jacket done, it's coming to your house. And once you say, I sign off on the sizing, I love the embroidery, it's coming to the shop, and it's going to be a premium item, sir. I can't wait.
So keep watching on Twitter.
Oh, we're going to blast it everywhere.
And Instagram in case, if we're doing a couple of shows ahead for the holidays. So if we don't be able to plug it there, we'll be plugging it everywhere else. So you will be aware when you can order.
Oh, can't wait. So let's dig into this week. And as this show drops, you and Brock are signing autographs. You're taking photos. You're at WrestleCade in Winston-Salem. This is the 10th anniversary of the event put on by Tracy Myers at the Benton Convention Center. You guys are available from 10 to 3. And tomorrow, again, as this drops, it's the big match we've been talking about for weeks here on the show. Brock teams up with longest champion in Ring of Honor history, Jay Lethal, and a mystery opponent to take on FTR and one of the greatest baby faces in professional wrestling history, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Arn, you got to be pumped about all this weekend.
Well, something that I just thought about, and I hope that's not the case. Have we been neglecting the fact that those that can't come to WrestleCade, we will have a signing prior to the Raleigh match?
You know what? I don't know if they can find that at the website of where they can see the match, but I think all the details are there. So if they're going, hopefully they've already found that out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a 5:00 show.
That's right.
So I would think they would probably start maybe around 3 so we can have signing for the fans.
Perfect.
So just be aware of that. Come on out. That's a great chance we get to see everybody, and don't let that be neglected as far as information-wise.
Guys, speaking of great chances, this is a great chance and opportunity for all of you to ask Arn anything. Our fans love it. You love it. I love it. So it's the time for the latest installment of Ask Arn. And for those of you that didn't get your questions in, please be on the lookout for our social media posts. The research guy, the big nerd that he is, has collected a lengthy and diverse list and will continue to do so. I love our research guy. I just love giving him crap. We have so much fun. We also want to ask questions for our week-to-week walk through Arn's career. So make sure when you see those posts, give us feedback, because honestly, and Arn and I have said it, this show is all about you. Isn't it, Arn?
Yeah, absolutely. It's different from everybody else's. You're not going to have a couple of bitter guys just in here knocking everything after they had a successful career. That's the worst thing I could imagine, to have had a great career doing what you love every single day, and then you're out and somehow you're bitter about it. Man, I owe this business everything. It doesn't owe me anything. So I'm very thankful to turn this time over to you guys, because you guys are the one that made it all happen.
No poison to be found here on Arn. And man, I'm excited about 2023. Arn and I spent about 45 minutes on the phone the other day talking about some ideas for the show. Nothing too changing. We're still going to walk through his career. We're going to do some more Ask Arns, but we're excited about what 2023 is going to bring for the Arn Show. And I think all of you will be as well. So let's get it started. Here we go. Here are the questions. Up first is one of my dear close personal friends, Allison Faye. Arn, yes, you have something you want to say.
Just one thing that I don't want to neglect. We're going to have a third partner involved in this, Marcus.
Oh, yes, that's right. He's our social media guy.
He's our guy. Marcus is sharp as a tack. He is so in tune to what the audience is looking for, so we want to welcome him aboard and say thank you. We value all that you do as well, my friend.
Marcus D'Angelo is the man, and he's going to keep us on track, and he's going to help us with all that fun social media. So thank you, Marcus. Appreciate it. And that's why I love Arn. Everybody has a seat at the table with this show, and everybody's going to get the love. So let's jump into it. Allison Faye, like I said, one of my close friends. If you had to book a hair versus hair match, Arn, using any two wrestlers from the past or present, who would you choose, and why would it be Jungle Boy versus Brian Pillman Jr.?
Wow, so they already decided, right, who it should be?
I love it.
Well, God, there's not a lot of options. For some reason, over the last 20 years, bald is in.
Yeah, that's why you and I get along so well, Lauren.
Yeah, thank God I don't need it, or you don't need it for nothing. But there's not a lot of good heads of hair. I would say Jungle Boy is definitely. I just wonder, has he got a good head to be bald? Could he withstand it?
That's what's the scary part for some of these guys. Would they even look good bald?
Because he got a head full of healthy hair. And Brian Pillman?
Yeah.
Oh, God, I'm pretty sure he couldn't pull it off. But he has a legacy of being nuts.
So that's true.
So bald head may fit him. It may help drive him nuts.
There you go.
So there's some, there's some potential. That was a good one.
Whatever happened to the old T-shirt that said "Bald men are sexy"? Remember when that one was going around back in the day? Did you ever see that T-shirt on, Arn?
I wouldn't have had the balls to wear that shirt, because I am been called a lot of things. Yeah. Sexy ain't one of them.
No, you're not sexy, and you know it.
It doesn't have a lot of validity where I'm concerned. But hey, Austin pulls it off, right?
That Austin does pull it off, man.
Rock pulls it off.
He does. The Rock has it now. He rocks that bald look.
100%. Who else looks good bald?
Your co-host.
Well, yeah, Paul Barnwell. Sorry. Yeah, some guys who have good.
I'm kidding.
Some guys that have good heads. You got to have a good head.
It's funny. I told my dad, I said, you know what, Dad, it's funny. You and Arn and guys in that generation, okay? Not saying you're younger than my father, but guys in that generation, they don't want to talk about hair loss. They don't want to talk about being bald. Guys in my generation, it's like we just embrace it. Yeah, we know. We just shave it off. My dad, it doesn't matter how much hair he still has on the sides. He refuses to take the shaver and shave this shit off, bro. Okay, just give up. It's over. Quit fighting for that Muppets patch. But you know what? It's still near and dear to his heart, and he wants to have it, so I'm not going to fight with him.
You know, it's a funny thing. You can have it around the sides.
Yeah.
It can, and you just look like, well, there's a handsome older guy, or, But when you take that off, you suddenly go into almost like well, shit, I'm scared of that guy. That's like almost a criminal element to it.
It looks a little tougher. It looks like, it's like Bruce Willis has done it. Jason Statham has done it. Other actors who have just said, screw it. We're just going to zip it off. And
it's a salty thing, isn't it? It makes you look salty.
Vin Diesel, others have just kind of just done that look. So there you go. All right. We got to move on. We got so many questions. We're going to keep it with the ladies. It's ladies' night here on the Arn Show. She's the first lady of the Arn Anderson fan club, Miss Amy Vaughn. And Amy, as usual, has a few questions for you, Arn. I'm looking at you. He's loving it. Here we go. Which finisher is your favorite, the Spine Buster or the DDT?
Amy, you know the answer to that question. Spine Buster belongs to me. It's mine. I created it. I'm the only one that does it 100% like I do it, that's the way it's identified. A lot of people have stole it, which they have a right to do. I think Brock has an excellent spine buster as a weapon of his, but he also uses a gourd buster and a DDT, kind of like his old man. I'm sure he'll be coming up with a couple, 3 more. DDT, the thing I liked about it, and the reason I wanted to steal it and use it, is there's no setup necessary. You can literally catch a guy out of nowhere. And then if you do it somewhere where that's the last thing they're looking for, that's the reaction that you get because they didn't see it coming.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
Hope that explanation is adequate. The other side of the coin is those that like the spine buster of the fans, they can very clearly see the setup. When I shoot a guy in, get in position to hit him with it, they see it coming. So there's a little bit of a precursor or a warning, here it comes. And if you like it, it's like
the build up and then
it's all in the build. Yes.
I love it. And you know what? Whenever you see someone do the spine buster, it's immediate Arn Anderson. The DDT now, everybody does the DDT. It's like almost a transition move, unfortunately, in wrestling at this point.
Well, the announcers have been kind. They called it an Arn Anderson spine buster.
Yeah.
It's much appreciated. Yeah.
Yep. She said recently Brock spoke on Kerry Morton's show, Family Business, which, by the way, you can check out on adfreeshows.com, that you finished wrestling before he was born. My question is, are there specific matches of yours that you made sure to show Brock or made sure that you and Brock have watched together? You
know what? I have never said, sit down on the couch, I want to show you this match. Now, he has watched a ton on his own in the privacy of his room. It's never been a situation with he and I where I have pushed him to be a wrestler or I've pushed against him being a wrestler. It's been his choice. Which, when you ask him, what is your favorite match? He does not say one of his dad's matches. Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, first match, WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's one of them. Oh, yeah, that's right up there, dude. The first one they did, not the second one was good too, but that you can't touch that first one. So good.
Yeah, I think that's a good choice of 2 pros, and my God.
And you were there, right? You were there with the company at that time. Do you remember watching it backstage or what that was like to see them put on that clinic?
I sat there with my jaw on the ground and my chest out going, that's what we do.
Ah, so good. You were given the award of Best on Interviews in 1990 by the Wrestling Observer newsletter. Does Amy know about your career or what? Do you think your interviews at this time were exceptionally deserving of the award, or were your interviews no different from others? You were just finally getting the were you just finally getting the recognition you deserve? Is her question.
Gosh, at the time you kind of take it with a grain of salt. You know, you don't try to. You think, well, God, I wish I'd voted the best wrestler. You know, the best promo thing, and then I started to think, well, you know, that's the one thing that is just yours. You can do a promo in a way, and it belongs to you, and people that see it, if you don't have a name written under it, they can immediately pick out who said that. And I think there's a lot of power in that because that will last a lifetime. There are people that can't remember matches or finishes from 20 years ago, but a promo that you did, for some reason, they never forget it because it has a bearing on their life. It affects their life.
Dare I say, there are a long, long list of great wrestlers. I don't think the list is as long as great wrestlers that delivered promos, great promos.
I think you're probably right. And if I'm included in that group,
oh, hell yeah.
It's just a simple formula. People ask me about, you know, what's the formula and all that. I had a simple theory about it. I talk to you, I don't talk at you. And the example I'm trying to make, I put it in terms of everyday layman can understand. And when it's done, you understand the message that was sent to you.
Plain, intense, powerful, nothing special, or you didn't act like you said last week, the line that you said about putting your head through a fan or whatever out the window kind of thing. That's just jargon that mama taught you on the back porch down in Rome, Georgia. You know what I mean? It's just you're using phrases that's real talk, real speak, but it's making a point, and it's the delivery of it.
And the point of it is, when it's all said and done, that you got the message. That's it.
Oh, hell yeah. Last one from Amy. Do you have any good Billy Jack Haynes stories? His name seems to be popping up more as I've been reading up on wrestling in the 80s.
I was never around Billy too much when I first got to Charlotte. Ole and I wrestled him in Wahoo and a few tags. I know that the guy had one of those bodies that you didn't forget. Word on the street always was, really tough guy, good worker, great look, had all the tools. And those few matches that Ole and I wrestled him in Wahoo, they made a good team. And that's the only time, to be honest with you, that I was ever around him. And it wasn't very long.
There you go. Amy, Allison, thank you for being loyal listeners and representing that female demographic for the Arn Show. We appreciate your listening and participation in the show, Arn. We're going to transition to that population of our audience that really enjoys the Blue Chew commercials. Are you ready to dive into some of the male audience here?
The sickos.
Lee Dyer is up next. Arn, any good memories wrestling in Detroit or the Detroit area? Think Palace of Auburn Hills. And what's your thoughts on mushrooms on pizza? Mushrooms are my favorite pizza topping. Thanks. So before we get to the pizza, because you and I could talk pizza all day, any good memories wrestling in Detroit or the Detroit area?
Cobo Hall. We did the one where the basketball team plays. Where is that? Auburn Hills?
Oh, yeah. Palace at Auburn Hills, where the Pistons, Isaiah Thomas, Dumars, all of them played.
You know, just going in that arena. And arenas that have a history like that, whether it's basketball or football or whatever the deal is, when you walk in those arenas, I just kind of look on the walls and the hallways and get the vibe of the history. And that's what gives those buildings, you know, their flavor and makes them memorable, you know, and you see stuff like that. But that was viewed as a separate market than Detroit. She went downtown to Cobo Hall or Joe Louis Arena or whatever, and, you know, we would walk in where the hockey team plays, you know, and we would walk in backstage and see the jerseys and see all the stuff. And it wasn't now just a wrestling arena. It was and you're at an event, and this is a place of merit and a place that has a history. My God, and you just absorb it.
When you talk about, and have gone through your history, and you talk about the Boston Garden, obviously Madison Square Garden, but the Great Western Forum in LA, where Lakers Showtime won so many championships, or the Celtics of Larry Bird, now Auburn Hills, the Detroit Bad Boys. I just sit here and think of, you guys wrestled in venues and were the main attraction in venues where so much sports history has been written. And as a sports fan, man, I just eat that up and think, man, what a cool thing to be able to tell your kids and grandkids.
Well, it's like on AEW, the other week, it's like you're in Baltimore. The history of the Baltimore crowd in wrestling is incredible. And here we are into the show, and it's live, and whatever's going on is going on. All of a sudden, you see people turning their head and looking, and you think there's a fight in the crowd. But it's their quarterback, Lamar Jackson, making his way to ringside and sitting down to enjoy the show.
So cool.
What other job could you have where that happens? And I've always said this, and I truly believe it. It's like Lawrence Taylor and Lamar, and a few shows back, the head coach brought some of the players down. Yeah. I wished I could remember their names, but man, they're all.
Yeah, Harbaugh brought them down. Yeah.
Yeah, and I had a nice conversation with him. Brock and I did probably for a half hour. Nice. For him to take that 30 minutes and talk to us, it's a big deal to us. He's something special. He's a great coach with a great team, and to get to have those experiences and have those guys happy to see you, and you can see that they respect you. The thing about athletes is we all respect each other, especially on things that we can't do. That's where the respect comes in. You may be the best in your field as a wrestler or a basketball player. Greatest basketball player in the world can't hit a curveball. We're all fans of each other, and that's what makes it so fun.
Arn, as we keep moving here, I got to talk to you. Mushrooms on pizza. Where are you at with that? Lee wants to know.
Thin crust. Very necessary. Light on the sauce.
Okay.
Ground beef, sausage, onions, mushrooms.
Mushrooms. There it is.
Don't need anything else. Perfect.
So you didn't say green pepper?
Nope.
Okay. No ham?
No ham. No surround gimmicks.
Pepperoni. You're not a pepperoni guy.
I don't. It's not my first choice. Like I said, if I could order a pizza every time, it would be thin crust, light on the sauce, ground beef.
Well, you like that cheese, even though you don't like
sausage,
it on your burger.
A little bit of cheese, not overdone, not extra cheese, mushrooms and onions. Now that's a pizza.
There you go. All right. Well, listen, we have a question here. Friend of the show, Drew Landry, has a couple questions. I've often heard Indianapolis was a rockin' wrestling town. Do you find that to be the case?
Yeah. It's, Indianapolis is one of those towns that kind of sits out there, and they have a lot of farmland. It's a spread out city, and they have all kind of blue-collar folks there. They love their football team. They love their basketball team. And they've always been wrestling fans. And I find it to be a blue-collar audience, which is the most preferable. No disrespect to our doctors and lawyers and high-dollar folks, but the folks that work for a living, man, they love to go and blow off some steam and watch a good fight. And we were just in Indy, and the fans there were awesome. It's always been one of those towns that you knew was just going to do well, because other than the obvious sports teams, I don't know that they get Rolling Stones, and maybe because they got the big stadium, the big arena.
Yeah.
I don't know how much they get other forms of entertainment, but it's always been good for wrestling.
There you go. Yeah, they got that big Lucas Oil field where the Colts play now, so I'm sure they're getting some stuff in there. He also says after you and Tully left WWF and Tully wasn't hired at NWA WCW, he discussed how he went down a different path. How much time passed before you two spoke, and then when you finally did, what was that first conversation like?
It was years. It was years. Once we figured out what had happened and they weren't going to hire him, I mean, that was probably the last conversation that we had for maybe 10 years.
Wow, that long. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't blame Tully. I blamed Jim Hurd. And for him to look at me and say we weren't worth as much as singles as we were as a team, and since Tully was not going to be hireable because of what had happened, he was going to cut me $150,000. My focus went to Hurd, went off of Tully, because Jim Hurd wouldn't have been smart enough to come up with that. Somebody told him that, and who knows who it was. Maybe somebody fulfilling a grudge from times past, I don't know. But when I went home and discussed it with Erin, and she said, hey, she was the voice of reason. She said, you've made the move. It's still a lot of money over a 3-year period. We could plan our lives. She said all the right things. It'll be fine. And the main thing that I had in my back pocket was I was going from 24 days on the road to about 8. And even though the contract got screwed a little bit on what it was supposed to be, that was still my chance to be home when I'd never been home. I'd been on the road with Crockett, been on the road with WWE, I mean, every day. And this gave me an opportunity to spend some time with my family, and that just was the most important thing for me.
That's good. And but 10 years. But you know what the best part of that whole story with Tully is? Now I see you guys together signing, talking when at certain events and things of that nature. It seems like the relationship and all that is good.
Well, people. This business is a funny thing because you're still, even with a relaxed schedule, you're still gone a lot. But back in the day, when you worked every single day and you did happen to get like a town that was close to where you lived, or an off day or an occasional thing, you didn't spend that time with the guys you worked with. I mean, there were occasional times Rick and I would go out on his boat and do things like that, and it was occasional times, but when you went home, you spent your time with your family. You would cocoon yourself in your house, go to lunch when you got home the first day, whatever it may be, and just spend that time with them. And it wasn't because we weren't friends. It wasn't because we were mad at each other. It's just you spent enough time on the road that when you got home, that's who you spent time with.
That's good. Scott Golden has a really fun question, one that might give some members of our audience a nerd boner. The Horsemen and the Dangerous Alliance are my 2 favorite stables of all time. If the Horsemen and the Dangerous Alliance were to battle in another universe, all right, in a War Games match, who wins and how?
So what team would I be on?
That's a great question. You'd have to be with the Horsemen.
So that would tip the...
That tips the scales.
That would tip it. When you think, I was the most accomplished. I was the guy that was in the most war games. I started every war games that I was in.
So let's go Dangerous Alliance. So you got Rick Rude, you got Larry Zbyszko, you got Stone Cold, you got Steve Austin, right?
Yep.
And you got Bobby Eaton.
Yep.
Let's pick those 4 against you, Flair, Ole, and Tully. So who would take the pin? Would it be Larry Zbyszko?
Oh, Arn, my God. Which team are you going to be on?
Yes. Larry.
What do you care? What do you care, Larry? You're going to be the last one in. You're going to be stalling your ass off.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, that's a great question. That's a lot of talent. Think about it. Rick Rude, Austin, Bobby Eaton on one team.
My goodness.
And Larry was great. I pick
I know.
Larry all the time.
You like to bust his balls, yeah.
I love Larry, and he cracks me up every time I get to talk to him. And he was very, very talented. He had a hell of a run in this business, and he was as good as he wanted to be that day.
And then on the outside, you got JJ and Paul Lee. One throwing a phone at the other one throwing the loafer at him. Yeah, I mean, it's just all hell breaking loose with this.
Well, yeah, and if you look at their talent at the time and potential talent going forward with Paul, who's had a hell of a career for himself, JJ had already had a hell of a career.
Yeah.
It's almost like a toss-up. That would be one that, God almighty, you're talking about a wish list.
Yeah, put that in your video games and create that match.
Ooh.
There you go.
Great question.
That was a fun one. That's fantastic, Scott. Appreciate it. Arn, after that question, the research guy definitely has a nerd boner. But if imagining the Dangerous Alliance and Horsemen do battle in the War Games doesn't rev your engine, but you still been looking for that extra boost, more confidence, and a performance from your prime, you need to look no further than our oldest and most loyal partner of all, our friends at Blue Chew. Isn't that right, Arn?
God, you get tore up every week about this, don't you? It's good stuff. It changes the mood in any household, just like that. And hey, look, guys, let me just tell you, there's no downside. It works.
It is. It's the light switch. Yeah.
If you're in the mood or your significant other's in a mood, just speak up and you can fix it just like that.
It's the light switch your life needs. I'm telling you, and it's going to work every time.
That's good.
Yeah. But it's on an online prescription service, guys. We've talked about it before. BlueChew.com. You're not going to the doctor's office. Nope. No awkward conversations like Arn and I are having right now. Now, no waiting in line at the pharmacy, and it ships right to your door discreetly. That's right. The mailman isn't going to give you the furrowed eyebrow. The process is simple. You sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with their licensed medical providers, and the best part, all done online. No, don't like swallowing pills? No problem here. Blue Chew's tablets are chewable. Chewables from BlueChew.com can make sure you're able to perform at your best. We're not talking at mid. No, we're talking at major. We're talking at your best. We're talking top shelf. We're talking Horseman level. So take advantage of this opportunity to have fun. Here's the special deal for our listeners. That's right. It's raising like the sun, Arn. You don't want to lower. It's not going down. It's going up with Blue Chew.
That's impressive.
Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code ARN at checkout. For those that aren't watching video, have no clue what we're talking about. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com. Promo code ARN to receive your first payment, your first Blue Chew, should I say, for free. First month free. Go to BlueChew.com. See, I'm getting so excited and flustered just talking about it. For more details and safety info, Arn, it's my favorite out of the week, pal.
You going to have any more babies, you think?
No. I've been snipped, okay? These jewels have been snipped.
So you can be wide open anytime or all the time.
I open for business. I can hang a sign from my dick that just says 24-hour service.
Oh, I don't know if you can say dick, can you?
Yes, you can. We can. Yeah, we make sure we turn off the child safety thing on this.
Boy,
podcast.
Times have changed.
Yeah, this isn't. We're not back with Opie and the gang on the Andy Griffith show. We're good. So,
no G-rated, nothing.
No G-rated. We're fine.
Okay.
All right. Jeremy Priest wants to know, on October 11th, 1993, at a WCW TV taping, you and Flair teamed up to take on Steve Austin and Vader. Do you happen to recall that match? Wow, that's a long time ago. If so, what was it like wrestling a team like that? Steve Austin and Vader.
Yeah, I mean, how do you plan for that? Yeah, I remember it. I mean, Austin, I get in there, and he was already starting to come into his own, and you could mix it up with him, but he was bringing you all you wanted, and then he tagged in Vader, and it's like time stopped. He's 400-something pounds.
Oh, yeah.
You know, again, another guy that played in the NFL. When you play in the NFL, it's special. You're a special athlete. And, brother, he would knock your head off with those gimmicks in the corner. Leon, and he moved good. It was just like two ends of a spectrum. One immovable object, and then you had Austin, man, who brought it, and they were a good team.
It is. It's like almost like a superpowers connection. You got the technical guy. Really, Austin could do it all. Brawler, technical, smooth in the ring, and then so was Vader. He could do moonsault from the top rope, for God's sakes, at a man his size.
Oh yeah, I mean he did a lot of power moves. You know, it's not like you could zip under and take him down. You know, it's hard to knock him down. I do have one instance or a couple of instances at the most where I did spine buster him, which is on tape, was on a pay-per-view somewhere, something to maybe look at. That was a feat of strength, one of the more important ones of my career. It might have been Daytona Beach. I'm not sure.
That's fantastic, Arn. That's something to brag about. That's a clip that we need for social media.
Yeah, I would pull that up because he was
Marcus, hook us up, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those things that, damn, how'd I do that?
Yeah.
But it was, if they just imagine if they really dedicated themselves to being a team and stay together for a year, what they would have been.
Absolutely. All right, Arn, let's keep it going because we got so many questions. And guys, don't worry if we don't get your question on this episode. We are going to keep doing Ask Arns every single month, and we're keeping track of what we don't ask. So we are going to come around to you. Next up, our buddy Yambag Jones. He says, Arn, would you rather eat a burger covered in nothing but ooey gooey cheese or do a 20-minute Broadway with Elegante? Oh, he just put his head down, Yambag, straight down to the ground. Ooey gooey cheesy or 20-minute Broadway with Elegante?
You could take a chunk of cheese the size of the Liberty Bell and melt it down and shoot it in my veins, and it would be first choice over being 20 minutes in the ring with Elegante.
That's the best answer I've heard all night. Yes, Yambag. Thank you for that question. That was awesome. All right, his second question.
Not good. He was not good.
Well, yeah, the shits. His second question for us today, do the Andersons have any special holiday traditions or any special dishes that Double A is looking forward to? Happy holidays to you both. It's been fun as hell reliving Arn's journey this year. FYI, you're still crazy for not putting cheese on a burger. So what say you, Arn? Any special holiday traditions or special dishes that Double A and your family look forward to?
And just to be clear, it's not that I hate cheese on everything or in everything. It's just not burgers, not sandwiches.
It's weird, dude. But okay, yeah, I love you though.
You know, Aaron makes a chicken and broccoli casserole that has cheese in it. That's off the hook.
Does Aaron like cheese on her burger?
No.
Really?
Brock does.
Okay.
Now Brock will go double hamburger. Don't make it a double cheeseburger, plain, and that's, I think, his choice.
But it's cheese, and it's cheese on the sandwiches.
Yeah, and nothing else. And
see, Brock gets it.
Yeah, I don't know too much about the sandwich, but the burger for sure. I think he just likes plain turkey and slight bit of spicy mayo. Does that make sense?
Ooh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
I like spicy mayo.
He's a little more health conscious than the old man. So, what was the question?
So, do you have any special holiday traditions or any special dishes that you look forward to?
Aaron could cook, man. God almighty. I mean,
I want to sit at your table once.
She does stuff like green bean casserole, deviled eggs, stuffed mushrooms. We get a ham from the ham joint.
The ham joint.
Yeah, I don't know the name of it.
I love it.
But it's the top shelf ham, whatever that is.
Honey baked ham or
honey baked ham, that's it.
Okay.
And sometimes we don't have a turkey for Christmas. If we always have one for Thanksgiving, obviously,
Gotcha.
And the ham. But, giblet gravy. Do
you do the sweet potatoes with the marshmallow gimmick on top of them? Sweet potato casserole?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes. She'll make no-bake cookies. You know what those are? Chocolate no bakes.
Unfortunately, I do, Arn. Yeah.
That's more for me. She'll do some, let's see, peanut butter cookies with the Reese's in the middle.
Yes, with the Reese's Hershey Kiss right in the middle.
Yeah, it's a feast.
What about peanut butter balls? My grandmother used to make those at Christmas. They're like peanut butter balls dipped in chocolate.
I would love those.
They're like they're calling Buckeyes.
You remind me of something. Sausage balls.
Okay, yeah, talk about those.
Oh well, they're all. You had those?
I've had like the sausage and like different. I'm thinking of meatballs in a different sauce. Tell me about sausage.
These
balls.
are just sausage balls, man, and they're really light. And I don't know how she makes them, but I think she uses like cornbread mix or something. And I don't know how she makes them, but she'll make 100, and we'll eat 100 and quick. The boys love them. It's just. It's just different stuff that you don't eat during the year. We'll have on Christmas and Thanksgiving.
Any tradition, Arn? Do you get around? Do you sing around the fire at Christmas? Do you do anything special, like a tradition wise? Do you watch a movie together? Do you watch National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation as a family? Do you do anything like that you would say?
I've seen that 100 times and still laugh.
Yeah.
When the old timer gets blowed up.
Yep.
Plugs in the gimmick and all that stuff. Yeah, that's a great movie.
The gimmick. I love wrestlers explaining things.
Yeah, I could watch that 1,000 times. It's really good. We do presents on Christmas morning. We may do one Christmas Eve, but it's just again, it's family time.
I love it. So good. So you know what, guys? Arn lives just like the rest of us, and he enjoys food. This is for those of my friends from Ad Free that listen to Mike Chioda. That's a snippet of what our podcast sounds like every other week. The food is a huge part of what we talk about, and people actually ask us questions now. It's kind of fun. So there you go. Carl Hayes drops a couple questions for you. We're getting back to wrestling here for the wrestling fans. Having been in both WCW and WWFE at this point, do you think Doom, more Doom, could have been successful staying together and changing brands? So what about Doom and WWF? I mean, that could have been pretty cool, huh?
Oh, hell yes. Vince would have loved them. He loved the bigger guys, the body guys, and still does. That's his preference. Those guys would have had a hell of a run up there. If you could fathom, being gone that much. The one thing people either don't believe or just kind of they hear it and they believe it and it goes out the other ear. There was more than being a great wrestler. There was more than being a great talker. You had to be a great businessman that could get on and handle that travel and get on that first flight every morning at 6 o'clock. And make a conscious decision when you want to just hit the alarm and cut it off and go, I'll catch the next flight. It's not a possibility because those tickets they gave you were worthless. You know what I'm saying? So
yes.
You had to be a good businessman, which means you made every flight you were supposed to be on. You were on time to the events. You were careful you didn't get in trouble in the public's eye and give a black eye to the company. There were a lot of things that went into working every day in those days. And, Ron and Butch, never had issues at work or anything, but still to be able to drag yourself out. Simmons knows because he went there anyway, but whether or not Butch could have handled that grind, I don't know.
Carl also said, did you watch the CMA Awards, the Country Music Awards, and what current country artists do you enjoy and been to any concerts lately or planning on going to any? You know
what? I didn't used to be a country fan growing up because I called it that shooting howling. It was country music was different 40 years ago.
Yep. It was about the dog and the lady and all that stuff, the woman that left you.
Yeah. But I tell you, I enjoy it now. I really do. And we watched it the other night, and we really enjoyed it. The performances were incredible. Tim McGraw, I like a lot. Garth Brooks, even though it's not them breaking in today, still, I listen to their stuff, and it's awesome. Who is the guy? Chris Stapleton.
Okay.
I just like that style. It's more of a country rock.
Country rock, yeah.
You know, and,
I'm not a huge country fan, but if you put Carrie Underwood on, I mean, is she still considered country?
Oh my God, she's a superstar, mega star. You can call her country, or you can just call her the all around performer. Now I'm going to give a lady a plug here that I'd never seen before, and I asked Aaron who that was because we had switched channels and cut it on right in the middle of Chris Stapleton and his band performing. Okay, they were already started into it, but I didn't know the song. I didn't know this lady, middle-aged, maybe 50-ish. But brother, she killed it. That show or that song went on for maybe 4 or 5 minutes, and I couldn't tell you her name. I'm sure the thing will blow up with who she was. She became a megastar that night.
So was this on the award show?
Yes, it was. And
okay, I
just cut it on, and it was Chris Stapleton and his band, and she was centerpiece of it and did a lot of the singing. And
she blew
I
your mind.
don't know who she was, but buddy, if she's not a star today, somebody's fumbling. It was
guys. Tell us who it was. I want to know who it is too. Because I didn't watch the awards.
It was that good, and go back and watch it, and tell me I'm lying. It was one of those where you went. I looked at Erin. I said, "Do you know who that is?" She said, "I don't." I said, "That lady just got over."
I love how you talk in wrestling talk all the time.
She just got over.
Yeah. Oh man, Let's see here. Okay, I'm going to look it up while we go to the next question. Let's keep it going. Tom DiNucci has a really interesting question. I saw Arn as a babyface beat Buzz Sawyer in a TV title defense in Baltimore. The crowd seemed to enjoy cheering Arn a lot. I'm wondering if Arn himself enjoyed his babyface runs at all, or if they were just as a necessary evil part of doing business.
It was. I didn't want to be a babyface, but, you know, it's like when I left and came back, it was a familiar face. The Horseman thing was over. I just automatically became a babyface, and Flair was involved in an angle with Buzz and Dragon Master and Muda. Gary Hart was managing him, so it was a 301 setup prior to me arriving there. Ole came back. It positioned me as a babyface, and I was okay with that. With Buzz, it was a fist fight, a bar fight every single night. Big time.
So, Arn, while you were talking about Buzz and the fist fight, I found out who it was. It's a long-time country music performer, Patty Loveless. He was Chris Stapleton brought out 5-time CMA winner Patty Loveless for a haunting collaboration of "You'll Never Leave Harlan Alive" at the 2022 CMA Awards. The performance aimed to lift up the state of Kentucky, where both singers were raised, and highlight its historic struggles with flooding earlier this year. It began quietly with only hushed instrumentation before Loveless' powerful voice took hold. As the song swelled volume, so did the urgency in her voice, giving the narrative about the economic struggles. But apparently it was amazing. They called it epic.
It was epic.
So there you
like
go.
I said, there's moments in time where somebody performs, and when it's over, they're somebody else. They move to another level. And I'm sure, so she's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
And not being an avid country fan, I wouldn't have known that. I just based it on that performance, and it absolutely had me mesmerized.
There you go. Awesome. All right, we move on. Arn, our fans are digging deep this week. For instance, Brad Stanton, he says, "Are you a believer in house shows as a means of getting better, or do you think working other promotions indies in off time is just as good?"
I don't think it's as good, because when you have an in-house company and you know who the players are and you work with them night after night, you learn together. And you have the company's, your best intentions are to strengthen your company. If you're all working for a single company and wrestling every day or on the weekends or whatever it may be, I think on the indies, you don't have enough guys there with experience to teach the younger guys everything from locker room etiquette to in-ring etiquette to the different styles and not step on each other's stuff in the course of the night. Don't do a guy's finish in an earlier match as a high spot. And all those rules don't get taught as well as they should, I think, because there's nobody there with the experience that have been in a territory for 10 or 15 years. So, the best case scenario, I think, even though guys, it lengthens their schedule, would be to work for an individual company, run your house shows on Monday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or whatever it may be, but have a succession of days to where things you can do last night that didn't work, well, let's tweak it. And what didn't happen the next night, let's tweak it. And that's the way you learn. That would be my first choice. In a world where, what's your preference?
Not everyone uses nicotine, but if you do, you want to listen up. If you're one of the millions of adults who do, you know that not all products are the same. And there's one new product that stands above the rest. Lucy Breakers are the only nicotine pouch that gives you a blast of flavor from the first moment to the last. Each pouch contains a capsule that will break open to release a rush of flavors that doesn't fade away like those other pouches. You know, the ones that rhyme with thin. They come in so many flavors, by the way: mint, berry, citrus, mango, even espresso. And you don't have to go to a gas station or corner store to get them. Just order online and they'll be shipped right to your door. Plus, if you subscribe, you'll save 15% and never run out. So whether you use nicotine while working, creating, or playing, Lucy Breakers are the intelligent choice. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. You can get $10 off your first order when you use our promo code ARN at checkout. And shipping is always free. That's lucy.co, promo code ARN to receive $10 off and free shipping. Visit lucy.co for more details. And we thank Lucy for sponsoring the podcast. Here comes the fine print. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age, and every order is age verified. So this product does contain nicotine, and nicotine is an addictive chemical. Our next up is Mr. Congeniality himself, Eddie Prather. If you could turn back time, would you have stayed in Pensacola a little longer than you did, or would you go back to Jim Crockett Promotions when you did?
I didn't want to leave Pensacola, but it was heaven. Met Aaron there, God almighty. Access to the beach 5 days a week, easily. It was heaven. But as history played out, leaving at the time that I was requested, going to Jim Crockett Promotions, the timing was just right because they were bringing in a bunch of new talent and the company was making changes, and you want to be in the middle of those changes and figured in on those changes. And as the year turned out, financially, it was definitely the right move.
There you go. Eric Sedan wrote in, was always curious if you knew why the Brainbusters did not have entrance music.
We never had entrance music with Jim Crockett.
True.
Did you realize that?
Yeah.
Now, if we went down with Rick played.
Yeah, he did his gimmick.
2001.
Yeah.
And maybe that's because people remember that and went, well, yeah, they had music. Well, no. When Tully and I went down by ourselves, and we didn't feel like we needed it also, it was different effect not having it, I thought.
It's interesting, too, because I think also from Eric's perspective, WWF almost had music for everybody unless they were an enhancement talent, So you guys really did break the mold up there for sure.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, I was fine with that being different. It's not like they didn't know who we were and that we were going to be just come out there to be chopped meat. I don't think anybody realized that. I think it was just a different, especially as we got more
different
established.
Presentation. Yep.
Thank you. Different presentation.
Yeah. So recently, 83 Weeks with Eric Bischoff, he covered the Dungeon of Doom. It was highly entertaining, according to a lot of the listeners, and I think you would have enjoyed it. But I mentioned that because Wrestling Alternate Commentary asked if you have any funny memories from the Dungeon of Doom, and where was the cave of the Dungeon of Doom located at?
You'll have to ask Sullivan. That was the best kept secret.
I love the kayfabe.
They were, what a combination of guys, right?
Yeah. A lot of interesting characters in that outfit.
Hugh Morris,
Yep.
Haku, Kevin Sullivan, the Shark,
John
right?
Tenta. Yeah.
Who else?
You had he was Brutus Beefcake, but in there he was what was his name in that one? Shoot. I'm looking at him with the face paint and everything too. Hold on, I'll look it up. But yeah, go ahead, talk about them, and I'll check
Yeah,
them
I mean,
out.
it was just a cast of characters that fit Sullivan, and they brought in a guy that was like a world class. You know, Bill Kazmaier was not in the dungeon, but this was another guy that they brought in from Texas. Remember, that was huge for like one show or two shows. You know what I'm talking about? It was like
Yes.
a world class power lifter, weightlifter, something.
The Zodiac was Brutus Beefcake.
Zodiac, yep.
Yeah.
And this other guy who was not good. I mean,
Well, then the Giant ended up being part of it for a little bit. And but remember the guy that was the mummy? He was all wrapped up in the mummy costume. Come on now.
so this guy that was the mummy from the school, 7 foot, 400 pounds, he walked up to me and he was in full mummy gear. And he said,
The Yeti was his name.
The Yeti.
Ron Reese.
Ron Reese, the Yeti. Nice guy, sweetheart of a guy. Came up and said, what do you think? I said, different. So, not knowing what he was going to do, he went up on the roof, I would assume, or was it in the ring? And I don't remember. And him and the Giant got belly to back and belly to belly with Hulk,
Yes, that's right.
and were giving him the jerk,
Yeah.
which looked like two monkeys humping a football.
Yep.
And he came back when it was over, and I walked up to him this time and I said, Ron, I'd like to amend my thoughts. Kill yourself. I don't know. I don't think he knew how to take that.
No. I love it, man.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, I do. Oh, it's like meme worthy all over Twitter, the Hogan hump. Yeah.
Here you have these two space monsters, and that's what you do for physicality.
God. That's like it was born straight out of the Black Scorpion, the writers of the Black Scorpion.
I think it must have been bouncing around in some corridor somewhere and resurfaced.
Oh, God. Arn, after a long day of traveling, wrestling, and bumping, our favorite wrestlers are always looking for food, a hot shower, and a bed. Meaningful rest is important. And we talk about it all the time, especially if you want to live healthy. If only when the Enforcer and the rest of the Horsemen were wrestling night in and night out today, they could have had better bed rest with the aid of Miracle Brand sheets. Arn, we've talked about it before. Temperature at night can have one of the greatest impacts on our sleep quality. If you wake up too hot or too cold, I highly recommend you check out Miracle Brand's bed sheets. They're inspired by silver-infused fabrics made by NASA. I mean, come on. How much more scientific can you get than that? Miracle Brand makes temperature-regulating bedding so you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. Self-cooling properties for better quality sleep using these silver-infused fabrics. And they're clean. They're infused with natural silver that prevents 99.9% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer. No more stinking, gross odors. You get luxury, you get comfort, you get quality, and you get no smelly odors. I'm telling you, this is the perfect holiday gift for our listeners. Miracle Sheets are the perfect gift. So get it for your spouse and your friends and your family, maybe your coworkers. I mean, come on, they need clean sheets too. They need sheets that are comfortable. So check it out. You can get it today. Go to the URL, trymiracle.com/Arn. And I'm telling you, this is the gift that keeps on giving. And you can save over 40% off by using the promo code ARN at checkout to save. And 3 free towels will be on the way as well. So upgrade your sleep today with Miracle Brand. Go to trymiracle.com/Arn. Use the code ARN to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. And thank you, Miracle Brand, for sponsoring this episode. Arn, Pastor Tim has a great question. He wrote, I love watching Brock wrestle. My own father spent 60 plus years in the ministry, and I know firsthand that pressure that comes from following in his footsteps. From your perspective as a father and a wrestling legend, I would like to know what you would consider success for your son Brock in the industry, and is there anything you do to help Brock balance your legacy with him paving his own pathway?
Great question. I don't think he feels any pressure to become who I was or emulate me. I think he has pretty much knows and grown up around the respect I have for the business and everyone that's come before us, because in any capacity, if you've been in the wrestling industry in a supportive role, in a star role, in a running a camera role, anything, a referee role, a commentator role, if you were in the business before myself, I look at you being responsible partially for me being able to live my dream and every single day go to work, doing a job that I truly love. I think I just want Brock to be a good employee, be a good partner, be a good opponent, be a good person, be a good guy in the locker room, be a good spokesman for the business, and do all the things where he's a part of the crew that is liked, respected, because he shows respect, and be one of those guys that if I owned a company, he'd be on my crew, and I'd be glad to get him and want to have him. I think he has a ton to offer. He speaks well. If you saw the thing he did with Kerry Morton, he did a great job. He's just going to get better at that. He speaks well. His talents in the ring, or every time he gets a rep, he gets a little bit better, and he understands and appreciates the critiques that he gets. All the things that just go into being a part of the crew that everybody, I guess, wants to work with.
There you go.
That would be my hope for him.
Well said. That's awesome. And man, I tell you what, I said it before on this show, but what an opportunity too, just to have you in his corner to pick your brain. And I'm sure you're giving him anything he wants and then some. As far as, all the knowledge that you had, not only as a wrestler, but in your years producing, putting together matches, everything that you've sucked in over time. Now you're able to kind of help give that to him in bits and pieces as he learns as well. So, man, we wish Brock nothing but success in his career. And you said it, Family Business is on ad-free shows. If you're not a member over there, that's an interview you don't want to miss. Taylor Cannon's up next, and he wants to know, outside of J.J. Dillon, who did you enjoy managing the Horsemen the most and why? So, Arn, I did a little digging and looked up some managers and valets of the Horsemen. You had J.J. from 85 to 89, but they also ranked a few other names that I'll throw at you. You had Baby Doll, Blanchard's valet, Dark Journey, Blanchard's valet. You had Hiro Matsuda, who was a manager for a short time. Woman and Miss Elizabeth were a part of the group. Bobby Heenan was a coach for the Great American Bash in 1996 only. They list as well. So there you go. There's a couple of people to choose from, but JJ's really the man. Is there anybody outside of there that I missed that you really liked having as part of the presentation?
Well, it wasn't Horsemen, it was Brain Busters. You know, Bobby Heenan, how do you not benefit from having him as a manager?
Yeah.
Him and JJ, I think, no disrespect to anybody else. I mean, Baby Doll was great with Tully, but she was with Tully. Mostly
That's right.
that was a single thing. I think Paul Lee did a good job with the Dangerous Alliance in the short time we were together. But I would put JJ and Bobby Heenan at the very top.
No, I'm with you. And JJ is synonymous with the Horseman, but man, you got to work with the great Bobby the Brain Heenan, probably one of the greatest wrestling managers, personalities, just people of all time when it comes to what he could do. From commentating to managing, taking bumps. He was just so good, Arn.
He had it all. He was the all-around performer, and he was phenomenal. He was the sharpest guy I've ever been around, the quick-wittedest, the funniest. Didn't matter what you said to him, he immediately had a response. And that's just a gift. You know, it just literally you wouldn't get whatever you said to him, you know, hey, Bobby, nice shirt. He was coming back with something.
Arn, friend of the show, Ted the Hillbilly Heel asks, and she went between singles and tag matches a lot. How did you approach tag matches compared to singles matches?
Well, number one, work like a team. Manipulate the referee, manipulate the other partner standing across the way, and almost make it into a 2-on-1 handicap. And if you could do that and cut off the ring and dominate a guy 2-on-1, you couldn't help but be successful.
There you go. Arn, Aiden says, need some wisdom from the enforcer. I need some advice on raising 2 boys. I just found out that we're going to be having a second boy this week. How cool is that?
Great. Congratulations.
That's awesome, Aiden.
How old is the son?
He doesn't say how old his oldest son is, but he just found out that they're going to have a newborn soon, a second boy, and he just says, what's your advice on raising 2 boys?
Oh, God, I'm probably the wrong guy to ask because I was not here, I guess. And Erin raised them both 11 years apart. She did all the work. I would just say, you know, make sure you spend, you know, on those days you come in from work or say it's the weekend and you wake up Saturday and, you know, you're really tired. You could probably go back to bed with not much effort. Think about what time 20 years from now you would look at that and go, wow, I wish I'd have took them fishing. Wow, I wish we would have went to Chuck E. Cheese. Anything like that, you know, rolling out of the bed, jumping in a cold shower, clears your head, and you go, I got a lot better ways to burn this 3 or 4 hours than I do rest, because you can always rest. You'll get enough sleep when you're dead. Spend every minute you can with your family. And I think if you didn't learn during this pandemic how important family was, wow, then I don't know how, because, you know, it was a rough couple of years, and family, you were all jammed in the house together. And it was an opportunity. You could either look at it as a negative. I chose to look at it as a positive. Play a game of cards, watch the same. I mean, we watched, you know, like Yellowstone and Ozark and a bunch of things we wouldn't have normally watched on TV. But we chose to do that because family time was thrust upon you. I would just say, raising 2 boys, just spend every minute you can with them.
And Arn, in order to have the energy to spend the time between work and raising 2 boys, I've got to put over our sponsor, Athletic Greens. Just one scoop gives you 75 high-quality vitamins and minerals, and I'm talking about improving your health, sleeping better, giving you that focus and energy that Arn just talked about. Listen, it's a slam dunk. You get better sleep quality and recovery, and it costs less than $3 a day. It's received 7,000 five-star reviews, and this is the time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system. That's it. There's no need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/Arn. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/Arn to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Check it out, Arn. I know you're a big believer of their product.
Yeah, man, it's 7,000 people can't be wrong. It just makes you feel better. You know, it helps with your digestion, helps with your energy level, and it probably a lot of things that you don't see happening just are, you know, they're there, and it helps you with experience good health and overall well-being.
Yeah, there you go. Arn, we just have a few more questions before we wrap up. For those that we didn't get your questions to, we will get to them. We're doing this once a month. Jeff tweeted the following question: what time of year are you vacationing in Aruba? I'm the last week of April, first week of May. Would love to buy you a beer and shake your hand for being such an integral part of my childhood. 2021 Atlanta Braves World Series champs.
Boy, I love this guy. I would love to be there. It's, you know, we periodically check on trying to get down there, and it's like they're booked they're pretty much, I guess the pandemic, you know, set them back. People couldn't go. That place is heaven on earth. I cannot give it my highest recommendation. Without saying, I've been to a lot of places that we went like 9 years in a row.
Yeah.
You know, there's an issue with the dog. You know, we've never put Smokey in a kennel for a week. They become one of your kids, man. Anybody ask a dog person or a pet person, they'll tell you. And to leave them there, that's tough too. And, you know, to try to plan our schedule around what may be going on with AEW or not, you kind of got to be on hold, which that's fine. You know, our allegiance is to our company, but you can't really plan ahead too much. But I would love to have joined him down there. Appreciate the thought on the beer, and you never know.
There you go. At Dude Brarian 919 says, wants to know, what's the wildest small town you worked in the Charlotte Metro, and why was it Gastonia?
Gastonia's a tough town. Watch the news, and buddy, there's a bunch of folks scuffling down there. I don't know what they're pissed about. It's just one of those places that they make the news a lot.
Yikes. And doesn't sound like for all the right reasons either.
No, I don't know.
Arn, last question before we wrap it up. Uncle J89 tweeted this one. He said, what's your favorite match and storyline of all time, and what's the one match you wish you could redo, and why? So do you have a favorite match and storyline of all time? Let's start there.
I don't know. Was fortunate to have a lot of great matches and a lot of great stories. I think the Midnight Express, Tully and I angle.
Yep.
Because it built from my friendship with Bobby and festered.
And that was special to you.
It was real.
Yeah.
He was my best friend. And,
that's right.
You know, it started out just Cornette, you know, wanting more for his team, and it ballooned into something personal, and personal issues have always drawn money, and they always real. And that was as real as it gets.
Is there one match where you wish you could redo, and if so, why?
Not really. There's not one that stands out, and, you know, we all have pains, and, you know, as you're learning, growing up, and you wish a match could have been better, and a lot of things of that nature. Boy, I wished I hadn't stumbled here or stumbled there, or the psychology wasn't right, or the intensity wasn't right, or any of those things. I can't think of anything that really stands out.
All right. Well, listen, if you think about it, let us know. Listen, we're going to have more opportunities because, like I said, we're doing these once a month. We'll be back around Christmas time. Our last show of the year is going to be an Ask Arn Anything. So, guys, if we didn't get to your questions, I've saved them. I have plenty here to go from Jason Tepper, Gavin, Mike Parker, Devin Dowling, Eros, Bryant Haremza, a few of you. So don't worry. But that's going to conclude this episode of Ask Arn. To our fans, thank you so much for your questions and your continued support. We appreciate it more than words can express. We hope you've enjoyed your Thanksgiving weekend with your friends and family. Please continue to participate and interact with the show by asking the questions that you want to hear. Send your comments and feedback. Next up is November 1990. Arn talks about continuing that feud with Doom, Clash of the Champions 13, and the build to Starrcade 1990. Don't forget, you got to support the Enforcer at arncomic.com. That Kickstarter, that graphic novel of Arn and his life story, that's where to get it. Deals should already be coming out on social media. They have different packages that you can get and participate in. So let's take care of Arn and really show our support for him. We hope you've enjoyed this weekend. On behalf of the Enforcer, AA Arn Anderson, this is Paul Bromwell, and you've been listening to Arn